There we go. We're back. All right, we're back. Yo, that was weird. That was super weird. I have no idea what happened there. Like, the go live button completely disappeared from OBS, and like everything else was there, but go live was gone. The YouTube on the back end said I was still live. I have no idea. I didn't get an email from YouTube. It's not like that. No, I didn't get. That was what I was checking in the back end if I had gotten copyright flagged or whatnot, which I did not. Windows 11 happened. Yeah, I'm unfortunately gonna have to make that upgrade when I upgrade my PC. Return to your regularly scheduled programming. Yeah. I'll give it a few minutes for people to filter in. Let's see. Let me see if I have the. Can go back and look at the chat from the previous stream, because I was gonna wait to shout the recommendation or the memberships and stuff till the video was over, and now I lost that. Sebrew, I think you became a member, so shout out, thank you, I appreciate it. And I know some other people sent membership chats, and I lost those. Guys, I am sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I lost. Yeah, don't spoil anything for me, Q. Damn. Guess my live chat will just get deleted then. Yeah, man, guys. Yeah, for those of you that sent stuff, I'm sorry. Sebrew, I know that you. I think it was Sebrew. Someone became a member, joined the membership. So. Yeah, thank you for that. I apologize I didn't call it out. Alrighty. Well, it's gonna make editing a reaction to this incredibly odd and awkward, but because I was gonna do put a whole just close the stream, come help me pressure wash the driveway. I would if I could. Sorry, Tebow. But hey, congratulations on the new house. So yeah, I'm back. We'll get back to what we were doing. Sorry about that.
And watch. And now consider this. With YouTube making far more money from shorts than from long-form videos, which type of content is YouTube more incentivized to get people to watch? Of course, it is shorts. YouTube literally makes more money from those views than from long-form, and that's the type of content that is getting far more recommendations in the algorithm. There is a reason why the shorts feed is taking up more and more room from the home screen, even if you don't like watching shorts.
Is it though? Is the shorts taking more and more room from the home screen? Again, just go to YouTube on the desktop. I use YouTube primarily on my TV. I don't see shorts at all. But just go to youtube.com. Nope. Alright, shorts. I had to scroll this far for shorts. Like, sure, on mobile, maybe. On mobile, is it taking more of the home screen? Let's see. Let's just go to home. Alright, so 1 recommended video, 4 shorts, normal video, a post, normal video, 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 a post, normal video, an ad, normal video, normal video, normal video. I'm gonna be real, guys. All I'm getting, minus the 4 recommended shorts that were the second option, even on mobile, I keep scrolling, I'm getting normal videos. Shad is just wrong. There's really no way, there's no other way to look at this. He's just flat out incorrect here.
So, mark my words, that the way that shorts are currently being implemented on this platform have and are destroying YouTube. At least the YouTube that once existed. And I'm not saying there isn't a place here on YouTube for shorts. If they were only shown to people that actually want to watch them, and the ad revenue cut that YouTube takes was even between shorts and long-form content. But that is not the case. Indeed, they are the primary mechanism in which YouTube is exploiting the viewer to suck them dry to get as many views and watch time as humanly possible, exploiting and taking advantage of you, the viewer, on content specifically chosen to lock you in and keep watching, not the content you actually enjoy the most. It is a manipulative, exploitative way of taking advantage of your precious time and
of
attention.
him just saying the same thing over and over.
The second huge incentive that YouTube has to keep pushing itself in this direction is that it knows it doesn't need to rely on most established creators making high-quality content for consistent views on the platform. It has now realized to its detriment that slop brings in the views just as much. Thus, by reducing views of most established creators, YouTube stops them gaining influence over the platform. YouTube does not want 1,000 PewDiePies who could all migrate off platform and take a massive chunk of their audience with them. But YouTube is...
And, like, again, that's a good thing. You don't want... As I mentioned earlier, this is the Twitch problem. The top 1% of streamers have a complete monopoly on Twitch. Yeah, it is good that YouTube doesn't want to go that route. Twitch is a dying platform.
Is okay with a select few massive creators so long as they're making content in the other direction YouTube is trying to push itself, which is into the
Yo, Tebow, that would kill us. New drinking game idea. Take a shot every time he says slop and high quality content. I would be dead, and I've got like 3 other streams to do after this. Like...
mainstream media ecosystem, which is the very antithesis of what YouTube once was.
Okay, finally, he might start to say something I agree with. Because YouTube does want to be the new TV. He finally might be getting into something where he's not flat out fucking wrong.
And still is, although that is dying off very quickly. Channels like MrBeast represent this new direction, the mainstream. YouTube wants to be a TV viewing platform capable of competing with Netflix, so it will prop up the few massive channels able to make mainstream type content. And then they will bring in Hollywood to produce new content in this sphere, leaving the types of creators that built it in the lurch. All of this, of course, will lead to the complete death of YouTube because YouTube doesn't need to be TikTok. We already have TikTok. YouTube doesn't need to be Netflix. We already have Netflix. It will turn itself into inferior versions of those other platforms and utterly destroy itself because YouTube...
No, I don't think that's correct at all. Like, now, could that happen? Yes. But YouTube is backed by Google, who's owned by Alphabet, like the biggest fucking corporation in the world. They've got the money, resources, and infrastructure to become better versions of all these things. Now, will they? I don't know. But could they? Yes.
Needed to remain as YouTube, not Corpo SLOPTUBE. People will eventually abandon the platform en masse if it betrays the very thing that attracted people to it in the first place. YouTube was supposed to be about you, what you wanted to see, not what a corrupt corporation forced in front of your face in the pursuit of the ever-blessed dollar. But here's the thing, I have no problem with a company wanting to make more money, but...
What do you mean? Dude, you've spent the last nearly 20 minutes bitching about how YouTube is making its money. You sound like somebody who has a problem with corporations making money.
YouTube has forgotten that the best way to achieve that is make a great product and good user experience and give the people what they want, not what...
Okay, so he makes a point, sort of. Yes, the best way to make money is to make a good product that users want to use. So I will put a poll in the chat right now. Let's do a poll. Do you find YouTube easy and worth it to use? Do you find YouTube easy and worth it to use in 2025? I'll specify. Because his whole thing is that YouTube has changed. Alright, so I'm going to have that poll going. We'll play the video while you guys vote.
YouTube thinks will generate more money. It needs to pursue revenue by giving the consumer what they want, and increased profits will come naturally. Pursuing revenue for the sole reason of only making more revenue will more often lead to very dissatisfied customers who feel cheated, having received an inferior experience for the time YouTube was asking from them. YouTube will end up trying to suck the consumer dry like a vampire if this is its mentality, which it is currently doing. It will abuse them, cheat them, and try and fool them into watching as much slop as possible, and although that might bring short-term profits, it leads to long-term destruction because people will consume slop for only so long, right until something else.
What does he mean short-term profits? YouTube existed in the red for the vast majority of its existence. It was being subsidized. YouTube has only gotten into the black within like the last, 5 to 7 years? And YouTube's been around for almost 20? What does he mean short-term profits?
arises and gives them what they were really looking for in the first place. How are you feeling at the moment there, Wikipedia? This is not an anti-capitalist video. This is an anti-monopoly video because we do not have a free market and competitive alternatives which is giving...
Correct. He is right. We don't have a competitive alternative. That's not YouTube's fault. That's not YouTube's fault at all. That's Rumble's fault for having a shitty UI that nobody wants to use. That's why I don't use Rumble, because Rumble is it's a fucking infuriating platform to use. It's Twitch's fault for being an abhorrent platform. It's Odyssey and BitChute's fault for not offering or marketing themselves in a way that makes them a competitor to YouTube. Like, this is the same thing that Asmongold was talking about in a recent video when it comes to Steam. People are throwing a bitch fit that Steam has a monopoly. No, Steam is just, now mind you, I got issues with Steam and the censorship bullshit they've been paying and bounty and countdown to payment processors. I'm not saying Steam's a perfect platform. However, Steam has a monopoly because everyone else is just wrecking their shit. So there's no one has made an adequate good competitor. That's their own fault.
YouTube free reign to abuse its viewers and creators.
Exactly, Matt.
YouTube is getting worse and worse, and as soon as we are given a proper alternative, there will be a
Unironically, Avernum Solantis is not wrong. He says Pornhub has a better user interface than most YouTube competitors. Correct. That is an actual factual statement. Pornhub has a better user interface than Rumble, than BitChute, than Odyssey, than Twitch, than Kick. Yeah, it does.
Mass exodus from this platform. Unfortunately, the current alternatives simply aren't there yet, including Rumble. I've given Rumble a go, and will give it another try in the future, but currently its search and discoverability still sucks, it still has restrictions in video size, and there are many other issues that make it far harder than it is worth in uploading content on that platform. We have heaps of our content on Rumble at the moment, and they all get no views. We hope Rumble can get better, or that Elon's X can launch a proper video platform. And as soon as there is a proper alternative, YouTube is going to be in a lot of trouble. Unfortunately, I do not see YouTube changing.
Not necessarily. YouTube is not going to inherently be in a lot of trouble. Like, if your whole thing is, oh, YouTube sucks, they're bad at yada yada yada, which I disagree with the premise of the video to begin with. But if there is actual competition, then YouTube would need to step their game up to become #1 under the sun again. Like, it would only be good for YouTube for there to be competition. It doesn't mean they're in trouble. It's an opportunity to step their game up. Right now, YouTube doesn't need to because they have no competition.
Course. Most of the terrible changes it has made in the last 10 years that have negatively impacted its creators and user experience, things that the community have been vocally against, have never been rolled back. It doesn't care about the vast majority of its creators. To YouTube, most are not needed, and once it brings in mainstream content and automated slop production chains that it can produce itself and keep all the revenue, it will see most of us as more of a liability and resource drain than a benefit. This is why YouTube wants to push most of its creators away, and that is exactly what it has been doing over the last 2 years.
I completely disagree. YouTube does not want to push most of its creators away. That is, they are not going to be a sustainable platform on just shorts and AI slop, and YouTube knows that. YouTube knows that. No, look, they get so much money generated from actual real YouTubers, from actual real people putting out content. YouTube is not trying to get rid of its creators. Now, I could argue there was a time when YouTube was trying to get rid of its right-wing creators. Absolutely. But even that's gone by the wayside. Who's pulling the biggest numbers on YouTube? Tim Pool, Crowder, Asmongold? No. Even YouTube's like, dude, YouTube is so less strict about their right-wing censorship nowadays compared to, like, let's say where we were 4 years ago. No, Shad he is wrong.
Think about this. Most viewers on the platform probably only watch about 1% of the content that is uploaded here. Even if we be as generous as possible in the extreme
Correct,
and assume that it's actually 10% of the content here that mostly gets watched, that means 90% of the content uploaded on the platform barely gets seen while requiring far more server space and maintenance and upkeep costs. That is insane. At best, 90% of the content on this platform is a waste of space that bleeds YouTube money. And out of
It doesn't bleed YouTube money. YouTube is in the black. Bleeding money would imply that you're losing revenue, that you're not performing well. Dude, YouTube is in the black, and they have been. It took them years to get there and years being subsidized by Google, but YouTube is not bleeding money.
the smaller portion of content that is...
Also, if YouTube was bleeding money, we'd know, because they do things like take a bigger revenue share of content creators' super chats and videos, and like we'd have adpocalypse style situations. Like YouTube would fuck over the creators first and foremost if they were bleeding money. But that hasn't happened.
Regularly viewed, YouTube is incentivized in making that even smaller by squeezing out the niche content and focusing far more on more easily consumed, broadly appealing slop. If YouTube could get the same amount of views without needing to host 90% of the content it currently does, it would make that change in a heartbeat. And this is one of the primary things that I believe...
I'm gonna pause the video. Let's end the poll. So I asked, do you find YouTube easy and worth it to use in 2025? Because his claim was that people don't. Overwhelmingly, 80% said yes. 20% said no. I'm not going to take Shad's word for gospel when we have a live audience right here saying otherwise.
YouTube is pushing towards. It is intentionally trying to kill off many creators that it sees it doesn't need. Our channel not least among them. Yes, we're capable of getting hundreds of thousands of views, even millions of views in our current content, if we are given the recommendations to get those views, but that is a shadow in comparison to the hundreds of millions of views YouTube can get other more broadly appealing content if it feeds all the recommendations it can to those videos. In YouTube's mind, it doesn't need me or most creators like me.
Why are you blaming YouTube when you should be blaming the viewers? Like, I know it's not usually a good look to blame your viewers, but yes, if you've got 500 million people fucking watching a Mr. Beast video, that's not YouTube pushing obviously there is an aspect of YouTube pushing, Mr. Beast and these content creators and whatnot. Obviously that is there, but if people are clicking on it, it means they want to see it. Like, what is so hard about this to understand? If I have a video that does 300 views, and I have a video that does 30,000 views, YouTube didn't just arbitrarily decide which video to promote. It was promoting the one that people were continuously clicking and watching and has a long, attention ratio. People are staying on the platform. Dude, the better your click-through ratio and then the time spent watching the video, the higher those numbers, usually the better the video does because it's keeping people engaged. And YouTube wants people to spend as much time on the platform as possible. Tebow says, I can't stand Mr. Beast, but people won't watch it unless they want to. Exactly. Right. Like this is the same argument towards, like trash reality TV, like the fucking Kardashians or whatever. Is that stuff, quote unquote slop? Yeah, it is. But why does it keep getting made? Why do these trash reality TV shows like Survivor and the Kardashians and shit like that keep getting made? Because people watch it. You're giving the people what they want, even if what they want fucking sucks.
If we can be so easily replaced with slop content that it can control more and gain more of the ad revenue from. This killing off of creators like me has been getting rolled out slowly, so most people won't notice or think it's the natural change in people's interests and that we just fell off. But we're not blind. We have plenty of analytics that tell us what's going on. Our channel's click-through rates, likes, and impressions to view conversion are higher now than in the past. Literally, the only reason...
They're probably higher now than in the past because YouTube has grown. Like YouTube is the most watched video platform in the world, including over TV stations and streaming. YouTube has more viewers than Netflix. YouTube has more viewers than insert TV cable package here, Direct TV, Mediacom, whatever you want to say. YouTube has more viewers than Amazon Prime. So yeah, your numbers are going to be higher by nature of more people being able to find the content because there's more people here. This is very obvious shit. You can have higher numbers, but in the grand scheme, still be lower than what other people are. Because, all right, if you got 100 people in a room, okay, you got 100 people in the room, and 50 of them are watching you, and 50 of them are watching some other YouTube channel. Add another 100 people to the room, and then now you get 75 people watching you, but the other 125 went to watch the other channel. Your numbers will grow, and their numbers grow more. This is basic fucking math.
Our views have dropped off is because YouTube is not recommending our videos. It is not because of a lack of interest in the viewer, as proven by
Adam,
the occasional video that does get more recommendations, because when they do, our views are great. Hundreds of thousands to 1 million views. That should be impossible if there was no interest in our content or if we had fallen off. For us, when our videos are shown, we easily get hundreds of thousands of views all the way up to millions on videos that are not anything special or out of the ordinary in regards to our standard.
Enzo says, even when I scroll through shorts on my feed, it's almost all stuff I'm interested in. Hot chicks, movies, food, drums, horrifying AI nightmare fuel, the usual. That is all stuff that you are interested in. Yes, can confirm.
Content. It is just our normal, regular content that when shown to people watch and enjoy, which means they would also like all of our other videos just as much, but YouTube has buried them.
That is not what that means.
Recommendation.
No, that is not what that means. Dude, I'm a variety channel, right? I cover movies, music, video games, anime, the whole nine. The people that watch my anime videos might not watch the video I put out about, like, let's go right here. Let's, YouTube, let's go to my channel. Alright, view your channel. And let's just go to my most popular videos. Go to my most popular videos right here. So, Disney's getting scared. Sonic 3 fights back. So, 46,000 views. The people that watch my Sonic coverage or my Dragon Ball coverage probably might not be the same people watching this 20,000 view Heavy Metal is Dead. Crybaby Metal Band cancels show. The people watching the heavy metal stuff probably aren't watching the Asmongold Sweet Baby Inc. stuff. No, just because you have viewers, if you cover a variety of topics, which to Shad's credit, he does, or at least he did used to. I don't know if he still does, but he did. Then no, people are not going to inherently be interested in all the same shit.
On our channel has been dying off so gradually that people just assume we've fallen off, and when asked, YouTube will simply lie and say they love and want to support creators and they're making changes that will benefit them. If that is so, why are there changes killing off so many established channels? Hundreds, thousands of channels have all been reporting the sharp decline in views recently. Many that were very successful in their small niche corner here on YouTube,
Yo, Shad,
and now they've been forced to give up entirely. And then there are millions of channels chasing the dream of even trying to get 1,000 views on a video, all who are working...
Alright, so Stupenzo is correct. There is a caveat to that. If you are likable, it doesn't matter what you talk about. So yes, in a sense, that is true. People come from the initial coverage, the initial topic, whatever, and they, in theory, stay because they like you and they want to see more of what you talk about, whatnot. There's, obviously, I've got loads of you guys that watch videos or streams no matter what I'm talking about, because at this point, you're not here for the topics or anything, you're here for me. And that's going to be the case with any, good creator. But, like, when you're getting new viewers, people who, like, they're just discovering your channel and whatnot, it's a gamble as to whether or not they'll stick around.
In a system that are actively stabbing them in the back and don't even want them on the platform because they're just making a larger drain on YouTube's resources. Once upon a time, if you really tried your best, you could actually grow a channel into something that could support a business. That's exactly what I found for myself. Unfortunately, that dream is now dead for the vast...
That dream isn't dead. I literally do this full time. I do this for a living. Words of Paradise is a licensed LLC at this point, and I have done that on less than 10,000 subscribers. Now, is it easy? No. Am I living like, as basic as I can? Yes. But is it doable? Yes. Bro, you've got how many? Like almost 1 million subscribers, if not more than 1 million subscribers. If I could do it on under 10K, the issue is not YouTube, my guy. The issue is you.
Majority of us. I do think many channels will be able to grow to get several thousands of views, but they'll never be enough to sustain themselves in the way that YouTube creators once did. That is not what YouTube
Jim
now...
Nair says just put the sword in the sheath. Bro! That was diabolical. Holy shit.
Wants for its future. It does not want the creators to have the power and the influence over what generates most of the money. These are the conclusions that I have come to while studying and looking at this very closely for over 2 years now. Listening to other struggling creators, direct statements from representatives who work for YouTube itself, and observing the trends. And in my opinion, this exposes a very serious rot at the heart of YouTube. And in my...
Let's do this. What is going on with men? Didn't do very well. How feminism destroys society. Barbie is toxic for women. Bad writing is destroying Hollywood. Hollywood's race baiting is a disgrace. These are all things that, let's say, the Critical Drinker would say, or he'd put out a video on, and his videos would do just fine. To me, this speaks to you and your content and what you're doing that is making it unappealing. How wokeness destroyed Disney. Bro, Gooch went from 600 subs to like 30,000 over a fucking year talking about the same stuff. It seems like a you problem.
In my opinion, this exposes a very serious rot at the heart of YouTube, one that YouTube would not want people to hear. There is a chance that this video could hit a viral trend, but there is just as high a chance that YouTube will try and bury this so people won't see it and they won't get exposed.
I haven't watched
so
any of his
please,
movie
if
or
you're in
TV
a position to
reviews in a
do
long
so,
time.
share this video. Like and comment will also help. Feel free to react to it in a transformative way and help expose YouTube for...
Oh, trust me. I think the reaction that I just did was very transformative.
How it is abusing its viewers and killing off the creators and videos that people had subscribed to in the hopes that they would see that content and have the opportunity to watch more of it. So in my opinion, the future of YouTube is grim, unless something drastic changes, but that's not to say YouTube will die. What it once was is truly dead. But YouTube will continue in this new corrupted state to host more content than you could ever consume, and those viewers who remain will simply pick the best out of the slop that is recommended to them, not realizing that there was once personally curated content based on what they told YouTube they liked. And that those creators who loved making that type of content for them will have long been forced to give up.
Which I don't have an issue with.
And if that is our fate here on Shadiversity...
Yeah, there you go. 1.65 million subscribers. 1.65 million subscribers. Not even 15,000 views. This got pushed not only to my Words of Paradise account, but I also saw this video in my alt account, my main personal account. So I was like, hey, this might be a good topic to talk about. Bro, this is weak, dude. This is the reason the views on this are low is because it's a weak fucking video.
I'm simply grateful for the time I had and the audience I was once able to reach. Even now, with our devastated views, which is solely due to YouTube killing off our recommendations, not a drop in interest in our content or a fall off of quality, I'm still grateful for what views we get, and especially all the supporters that we have. Don't get me wrong, even though YouTube is trying to kill our channel and we get a fraction of the recommendations we once did, I know many people would die for what we have. Indeed, we currently have far more supporters than many other channels who YouTube is favoring with more recommendations and therefore views. There is still such a huge amount of love for our content. Because, ask yourself this, If our content had fallen off, why do we have far more viewers who have signed up to be paid supporters to a much higher degree in comparison to the amount of recommendations we are currently getting? We actually have far more paid supporters than the current views on the channel would ever indicate. And those supporters are still growing because people still love our content. And it is only thanks to them that we've been able to weather the storm so far. Unfortunately, there are a lot of great channels getting killed off. And if you want to help them and us survive, we all need your support. I know many are not in a position to do so, and I thank you just as much for your viewership. But you might be surprised how little it takes to help channels like us keep afloat. Just $1 a month, $12 in the year. Accumulatively, with enough of our viewers supporting us like that, it makes us sustainable. And if you're in a position to support just that $12 in the whole year, please consider doing so. And then we can keep making the content you love and make awesome exclusive content for our supporters. And if that support grows, we can survive until a proper alternative arises. Because we love making content and entertaining our fans, and we will try our very best to survive. And with your help, I know that we can. So thank you. And until next time, farewell.
Nah, dude, that was weak. That was some straight up weak sauce. Again, was able to disprove so fucking much of that within like live on stream, just by showing other people's numbers, showing my numbers, showing what YouTube was recommending me. Again, also recommending me on the alt account on my phone. Like that was pure cope. Pure cope. If YouTube was losing the way it is, you know, dude, this time last year, Smash JT had 20,000 subs. Now he's over 100,000 subs, and people are watching the content. Like, what are you talking about? This is so easily disprovable. Yeah, all y'all calling this a woe is me, public radio charity drive. Yeah, man. I cannot in good conscience agree with this. Everything he said was, it was just straight up ignorant. So yeah, but these are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word, and please do subscribe. We are a nerdy news channel covering nerdy news every day. Not always what's going on in the YouTube ad revenue space, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check us out on Instagram at wordsparadise_Leon, and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles we go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos we react to on the nightly streams, and of course get involved with over 200 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to go even further, because we do care about diversity. Only one kind of diversity of thought that's interesting to you. Join the Discord, subscribe, and until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise. Obviously, we're not ending the stream. We're going to be going for at least another hour and a half before we raid into Niat. Butter framed in gold for a 2-banger says, support this. Yo, shout out, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. Truly appreciated. Yeah, to be fair, getting sued helped a little bit. That is true. That's true. Getting sued did help. Smash changes the way he does videos. Now he's not doing any more cutting from live streams. Not his edit, the way he Shad. Excuse me. Yeah, and we've all changed. I mostly do clip videos now. Mainly because there's a lot of good content. Like, my thought process is I've got a limited audience for live streams. How many people we have right now watching right now? We've got 47. We were in like the 60s or something earlier before the stream fucking crashed. So like, yeah, I think the content's really cool that we're doing here on the stream, but it's limited to just those who see the stream. So when you clip that content and make it into a video, you could reach far more people that wouldn't have seen it. I'll still do videos that aren't stream clips when I find a topic that I find really interesting. But oftentimes I find these interesting topics already daily, and I talk about them daily on the streams. It's like, back when I was only doing 2 streams a week, Countercast and Neon Leon, I had to put out videos every day of other stuff. But yeah, don't even necessarily have to do that now. I still will if it strikes me. But yeah, don't even necessarily have to do that now. Alrighty. Guys, I'm pretty worried about this right here. Dante versus Clive, Devil May Cry versus Final Fantasy Death Battle. I'm curious, because, like, how does this even work? How does this even work? And I know a lot of people talk shit on Final Fantasy 16. I haven't played it. I want to play it. I actually, again, I got nothing against it. I do think Square Enix, since Final Fantasy needs to go back to being turn-based. But whatever, right? How is anyone from Final Fantasy gonna take on Dante. Bro, Dante is one of the most busted characters in video game history. He lives purely on the rule of cool. So if Dante loses this, I'm going to rage.
Dante vs Clive.
DMC's Devil Hunter versus Final Fantasy's Shield of Rosaria. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Like, this should be easily Dante. Like, bro, Dante is fucking indestructible. Again, I don't know Clive. I don't know Final Fantasy 16. But can anyone in the chat who played Final Fantasy 16, like, in good conscience, tell me this is even a fair matchup? Is Clive unkillable?
It's a dangerous world out there. Cultists, demons, and evil businessmen lust for power. And every day brings a new cataclysm humanity must face.
This world may seem like the end, but for a devil hunter like Dante, it's party time. Who'd expect anything less from the son of the legendary demon?
Why are you using clips from the show? Why the fuck are you using clips from this gross-ass, non-Devil May Cry weak sauce show? But fuck this, just showing you Devil May Cry. There's a perfectly good, canon, actual anime they could be using clips from, and they're going with this Adi Shankar bullshit.
Sparta.
A dark knight who, thousands of years ago, woke up to justice and sealed away the demon lord, Mundus.
But then Sparta mysteriously died, and his wife got iced by some demons, leaving Dante and his brother Virgil separated.
Despite a long-gone family, Dante kept a chipper attitude and set up a business dedicated to one thing:
Killing demons, and with the blood of Sparta running.
The opening cutscene to Devil May Cry 3 is the greatest opening cutscene to any video game ever made. Like, Devil May Cry 3's opening scene here is purely Nat 20 roll after Nat 20 roll. It is the coolest shit imaginable. And y'all know me. Resident Evil's my bag. Sonic the Hedgehog's my bag. You know, Legend of Zelda's my bag. But this opening cutscene trumps any opening cutscene from any of those games.
And through him, he's the best in the business.
By harnessing his own demonic energy, Dante bolsters his speed, power, and durability, letting him block kaiju-sized punches, move faster than a meteor,
And regenerate like an unstoppable force of nature. As long as he has the energy, he can heal from getting shot, stabbed, sliced through.
Dude, he like tanked top tier evil big bad eldritch god horror Virgil in Devil May Cry 5, right? He got fucked up to the point where he was buried under rubble for like a month. And after a month of taking a little hibernative nap under some fucking rocks, he woke up, brushed off the dust, and continued to whoop ass, bro. Could Clive survive being buried under rubble for a month, taking a snooze cruise?
Basically anything.
Even without his regeneration, he survived heat that would reduce the layman to ash.
But no hunter is complete without an arsenal, and Dante's got one hell of a sword left by his dad, Rebellion. Plus Ebony and Ivory, 2 magic pistols with endless ammo clips. And they say the perfect gift doesn't exist.
But Dante's full arsenal is far larger and stranger.
Like King Cerberus, a shape-shifting set of elemental nunchucks.
It's such a good weapon. That's probably the weapon I use the most in DMC5. I'm gonna lie. Like, I'll break out Rebellion, get a combo string going, then I'll flip to King Cerberus. Oh, dude, it's such a fun fucking weapon.
Cavalier, a pair of buzzsaws that are also a motorcycle. Balrog, fiery fisticuffs for boxing
Oh, yeah, I
and
use Balrog a
capoeira.
lot, too.
And Navan, guitar. An electric guitar.
There's also Lucifer, a backpack of endless laser swords that Dante
Is they
got
clip
after
the
slaying...
mag? Yeah.
Actually, we never see how he beat Lucifer.
Yeah, you know someone's a badass when they off-screened the actual devil. Then there's my fave, Dr. Faust, a sentient...
I love and hate Dr. Faust.
Hat that turns Dante into basically Orville Peck. Oh, and shoots crystallized demon blood.
Dante needed this and much more when he got a warm welcome from the brother he thought long dead. In a twist of fate, Virgil was alive, but went down a very different path.
While Dante was partying, Virgil studied the blade, seeking the power he needed to exert his will, even if it meant killing his own brother. Something he came close to doing in their first meeting.
But the defeat only spurred Dante's awakening. He learned to teleport using Trickster, slow down time through Quicksilver, and double-team foes with Doppelganger.
With a slick pose and the right timing, he can royal guard dang near anything, then use the absorbed energy to armor up as a dreadnought.
And then there's Devil Trigger, a super form Dante achieves through his supernatural power. By tapping into his inner demon, Dante can fly and gains an enormous boost in speed and power.
Naturally, his rematch with Virgil went very differently, and that was far from Dante's peak.
When Mundus got up to his old tricks, Dante battled the Demon Lord in a vast sea of stars, a universe Mundus created on a whim. Even later, Dante one-shot a stronger alternate future Mundus who had completely merged with the demon world.
So he's kind of a big deal. Literally, Mundus became a living universe just for Dante to shoot him in the face.
Then there's Argosax.
If they give the dub to Clive, this is the worst, most disingenuous episode they've ever done, and that was after the bullshit they pulled with Blade and Buffy.
A god so astronomically intense, he had the power of every other demon in existence. A divine deity of the sun that Dante also shot in the face.
Oh, that guy! I completely forgot about him.
Funny, so did Dante. Despite how powerful Argosax was, he was just an insignificant Tuesday to Dante.
So it's safe to say Dante had become the strongest around. But no amount of style, pizza, or wahoos could fill the hole in his heart. Sure, Virgil was a power-hungry weeb, but he was still his bro. Beneath Dante's antics, killing the last of his—
There we go. All right, look at that. He's actually using clips from the good animated version of Devil May Cry.
family kinda messed him up.
Until he learned his family wasn't as gone as he thought. It turns out he had a nephew, Nero, who Dante would help get into the family business in his own unconventional way.
And for dead weight, Nero was pretty badass, even helping Dante take on the so-called Demon King Urizen. Nero's Devil Breaker arm can fire light-speed lasers that Dante—
Why are they bringing up? Oh, okay, maybe it's because to show how great Dante is.
and Virgil have dodged.
Dante and Virgil can already dodge lasers in their base forms, but when charged with enough demonic energy, they can outright blitz beams over 11 times faster than light.
Nero even survived getting melted down while inside a living statue. It's a long story.
And that's the same sort of regeneration that Dante has, meaning he can survive being turned into a puddle.
So Dante was ready when Virgil somehow returned. Again. And made an apocalyptic demon tree for what else? More power!
With the entire world now on the line, Dante had to get serious and fully embrace his human and demon sides alike by stabbing himself.
Holy shit, Dante has been impaled so much, he decided to make it how he powers up. So he got his greatest weapon, Devil Sword Dante, and became Sin Devil Trigger. This is Dante's demon energy at its peak. He can fire lasers with Loose, obliterate with the fires of Judgment, and surpass even the legendary Sparta.
But although Dante was totally a match for Virgil, neither of them would budge on their ideals. Both were destined to duel until one was dead forever.
But thanks to Nero and two well-placed bitch slaps, they got some sense knocked into him.
Dante realized that if he couldn't make Virgil abandon his ways, he might as well keep an eye on him. In one fell swoop, the two severed the world-spanning demon tree and prepared for a permanent departure to the underworld.
Where is Devil May Cry 6? This shit was such a dope ending. I want to know how they make it back, because they got me. Look, I like Nero. I do. Nero's fucking fine, but he ain't Dante. Devil May Cry 6 can't be the Nero show. What is Dante and Virgil doing in hell, bro? And how they gonna make it back?
You can choose your friends, but not your family. But if that's what it takes to keep Virgil safe, or rather to keep the world safe from Virgil, Dante will deal with it. And all things considered, he's happy slugging it out with his bro. Maybe happier than he's ever been.
Proof that as long as you have the human drive, even hell can become a paradise sweet enough that a devil may cry.
Whiz, it's an emergency! This fight's gonna have a banger soundtrack, but my headphones broke!
Well,
You know what? Normally I don't skip the ads. But Death Battle, they doing fine. They doing fine. We don't need to hear an ad read. Sorry, I'm an asshole like that today. No ad read for Death Battle. If they didn't suck, it'd be different. But Death Battle sucks. So
Rosaria and its prince, Clive Rossfield, a man destined to be a dominant,
look at that little twink. How that little twink gonna beat Dante?
the host to a mighty guardian icon.
Anybody who's a dom can draw on magic life juice called ether, becoming a big scary monster.
And commanding the
You mean the type of big scary monsters that Dante beats with fucking blickies? Bro, I don't give a fuck how tough Tiamat is. Dante gonna drop Tiamat like a nothing.
element they embody to create storms, slay armies, and split the sea. Dominants are forces of nature, and Clive would be the dominant of the Phoenix.
Well, he was supposed to, but Big Bird said no thanks and instead picked his sick little brother Joshua. Parents don't play favorites, but I guess ancient monsters can.
Despite the rejection and a deep loathing from his mother Annabella, Clive and Joshua were
See, this dude, Dante's mom is dead. This dude got a mom, and she's like, dude, you fucking suck. How the dude whose own mother doesn't love him gonna beat Dante?
only kind to one another. Clive saw the burden his brother bore and accepted his blessing of the Phoenix in hopes of becoming Joshua's shield.
Meaning he learned a bunch of magic. He can shoot fire, teleport with Phoenix Shift, and took down this beast before he was even out of puberty.
Even without magic, Clive's a capable swordsman, able to boost his speed and perception with precision dodge. But it wasn't enough when Annabella betrayed Rosaria for the Empire of Sanbreque. In one night, Clive's knights, people, and his own father were slaughtered before him.
Quick, someone use a Phoenix down!
Those aren't in this game.
Well, that's unfortunate.
They made a fucking Final Fantasy game without Phoenix Downs? Yeah, look, I love hack and slash games. There's a reason Devil May Cry is in like my top 10 all-time list, like franchise-wise. And that's actually why I'm interested in this in Final Fantasy 16. I'm just waiting to upgrade my PC before I play it. But like, how you gonna not have Phoenix Downs?
But the Phoenix icon sure is, because the trauma of everything made poor Joshua lose control.
Clive wanted nothing more than to help his brother.
Matt
Perhaps
Stafford
this
says the real
desire
Phoenix
awakened
Downs is
the
the friends
icon
we
that
made
was
along
in
the
him
way.
all along. The fiery
I'm not playing this fucking game on Xbox. Fuck Xbox. Bro, Xbox gay as shit. I ain't playing this fucking game on Xbox. I play games on a PC like a fucking adult. I don't play no goddamn consoles. Only console I use is the fucking Nintendo consoles because, you know, Zelda is worth it. Fuck out of here with that shit.
Ifrit. Boy, is Ifrit a wild one. Just standing nearby will incinerate the average Joe. It can make fire barriers, regenerate lost limbs, decimate foes with a flaming spirit bomb, and shatter a walking mountain.
The downside being Clive couldn't control it. He didn't even remember becoming Ifrit or battling the Phoenix in a fight
Phoenix
that
Downs
reduced
have been
everything he
for
loved
Phoenix
to
Downs.
cinders, leaving Joshua presumed dead.
If that wasn't bad enough, dear old Ma found him the next day and made him a slave to Sanbreque's army. Clive spent 13 years wallowing through life, searching for Ifrit's host for revenge, only to learn the one he wanted to kill was himself.
This revelation hit Clive like a phantom train. He thought death was all he deserved for taking the lives of Joshua and so many others. Even so, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. No, not like that.
Thanks to his friend Jill, the outlaw Sid, his doggo Torgal, and a very therapeutic battle with his self-hatred, Clive learned to carry the torch for his brother, fighting the real problems plaguing his world: crystals and racism.
In the world of Valisthea, prejudice is alive and well for bearers. Basically, anyone
Good. Based. Prejudice is based.
who can use magic without special crystals.
So what better way to dismantle the system than to help fellow bearers and destroy the mother crystals ruining the planet, all while picking up some nifty abilities.
Through a mysterious power that lets him absorb icons, Clive took Garuda, an avian with sharp slashes and sharper talons. From Sid, he received Remove, so he could summon lightning.
From his bae Jill, he got Shiva to freeze lava and even time itself. With Titan, he can block and absorb blows with earth-shattering fists. From this
Dante spars with his brother in world-shattering fights for fun. Clive cries over accidentally killing his brother. They are not the same. No, they are not. Which means Death Battle gonna do what Death Battle always does and pull out some dumb ass pull as to why Clive is the winner. Dude, I can already tell you, fuck this.
Dragon Prince, he got Bahamut and some deadly lasers.
And through Odin, he can slow the flow of time and slice apart the fabric of space.
Oh, he can slice apart the fabric of space. Dante went into another goddamn universe and killed that universe.
Looks familiar.
With these powers, Clive stepped up to lead the bearers, and even reunited with Joshua, who was alive all along. Surprise!
Clive spent 5 years freeing the land and became hot as hell while doing it. Well, no, not well, yeah, that way, but also through Ifrit. By using part of Ifrit's power, Clive can set himself aflame, activating Limit Break to boost his abilities.
But Limit Break is far from Clive's limit. After absorbing the Phoenix essence from Joshua, he became Ifrit Risen. Now fully in control of the monster that had tormented him, he embraced his role as a shield for his brother and friends.
Just in time to battle in space, block a planet-wiping blast, and overpower this dragon at the speed of light.
That's no exaggeration. Ifrit Risen is literally stated to move at light speed, not
And Dante dodges shit like 11 times light speed.
surprising when Clive has intercepted lasers over 3 times faster than that, and overpowered Omega, a god-slaying weapon that can destroy, and I quote, all of creation.
You give
But
this
what
game
made
to
Clive
relatives you
strong
hate.
enough to do all this? You know, besides the majestic man cleavage.
Turns out Clive's birth was orchestrated. He was intended to become the vessel of Ultima, an ancient, all-powerful being that created humanity, but abandoned them after they developed free will.
Meaning everything that happened was the fault of one person, God, the bastard! But Clive wouldn't be a puppet. If God was in the way of humanity's freedom, then God was gonna die.
Easier said than done.
It wouldn't be a JRPG, if you can call this game a JRPG, if you didn't fight God at the end. Favorite Final Fantasy game? Tactics.
Shit!
Ultima was stronger than anyone Clive had faced, able to warp all of reality to create a universe. But Clive had a secret not even Ultima foresaw. Over his journey, he developed a special state of mind, Logos.
AKA someone powered by human will and the bonds of consciousness with others. Okay, that sounds like anime friendship crap, but trust me, it made Clive a badass who could surpass his limits, getting stronger over the course of just one fight.
So much so that, despite struggling against Ultima initially, by the end of the fight, Clive took out Ultimalius, a more powerful amalgamation of Ultima and his entire species, all while Clive was in his base form.
Ultima literally became Ultima Squared, but Clive still kicked his ass, using his bonds with his brother, his friends, and his unbridled.
So, alright, so here's the dealio. If Clive beats Dante, it's not even because Clive is fucking awesome. He basically Goku's this shit. Goku couldn't beat Kid Buu. No, the world had to beat Kid Buu by giving all the spirit and shit up for the spirit bomb. Clive ain't beating Dante on his own, so he's gonna have to power of friendship that shit.
Will, Clive killed God in a giant 999,999 damage punch. Okay, so it really was the power of friendship after all. Man, this guy's got a future in shonen.
Well, except we don't really know what happened to Clive. Whether he lived or died, though, doesn't really matter. It was his journey and the work.
It kind of does matter. This is a death battle. Whether he lived or died kind of fucking matters. Also, they never explained how Dante can be killed. Spoiler, because he fucking can't. How you gonna have a dude that can't die in something called Death Battle?
World he created that made his life meaningful. Clive's dream of a future where everyone can live and die on their own terms had become a reality.
And his stories were written up in a book by a certain Joshua Rossfield, which he titled Final Fantasy. The battle's coming up next, so call your winner now, folks, just like our
Alright, again, like I said, I'm on my Denim's arc, skipping the ad. And let's see how they fuck this up.
Oh!
Superhero landing.
Hey, I heard your fiery friend is causing trouble, and I'm in the business of dealing with trouble.
Leave now. I have a god to kill. The last thing that will stop me is a demon.
Alright. The dialogue ain't bad. The music's a bop. The music's a bop. This is a very Devil May Cry song. I dig this. Yeah, give us that Dante dance, baby. Let's go. This is one of my favorite fucking scenes in Devil May Cry 5. Also, shout out Niat5, gifted words of paradise memberships. Truly appreciate, homie. You absolute legend. Thank you so much. Guys, we'll be rating it in Niat after the stream, so don't go anywhere.
Let's rock!
Fancy yourself a bard?
That's right, we'll walk past that shit, son. Fuck Clive.
Stay down!
Muda.
No hiding in the shadows anymore, Smokey. Time to see the light!
You know what? Even though I know Clive's gonna win because Death Battle fucking sucks, even though I know I'm gonna be pissed by the end of it, I will give credit. God damn, do they make Dante look cool.
What the hell is that?
And here it is. Because he was able to beat a god in base form, they're gonna fucking pull some shit. That's why he could beat Sin Devil Trigger Dante. This is where it's gonna turn into bullshit. What sort of a legless horse is that?
Virgil's got some competition.
Nice! He did the fucking the perfect counter. Sweet.
Still holding out on me? Let's see what your monster can really do!
So the devil cries for more. Let's give him everything we've got! Josh!
And there it is. Oh, anytime someone in one of these fucking death battles gets cocky about their victory, they lose. This is... I fucking hate this series, bro.
Underestimate you!
If y'all saw me flinch for a moment, it's because I went to immediately grab my controller. I forgot for a brief moment we were watching a video, and I was like, fuck, button prompts! Like, holy shit. I swear to Christ, I was about to reach for the controller and fucking hit button prompts, forgetting I'm watching a fucking video. You need to do a whole lot of justification for how they're about to have him kill Dante, when even fucking Virgil couldn't do it. Let's see. Let's see.
Please. Just once. I need more.
The power of friendship bullshit. He about to get his goddamn Super Saiyan God level up. This is fucking stupid.
Been a bash, Smokey.
I need entry!
Not bad. Not bad at all.
After a fight like this, the gods will be nothing.
This is so fucking stupid. Dante winning his Bayonetta and lost this. Like, what? Yeah, this is... I told you, anytime, like, Death Battle looks for excuses to take the legit most OP characters and find dumb ass pull reasons for them to lose. There is no way on God's green earth that Dante would lose to this fucking Final Fantasy twink. Yes, high quality bullshit. Agreed.
Okay, that was a whole nother level of close, but I think we got the point.
This was not an easy call to make. Dante and Clive matched each other so closely, it was hard finding a definitive...
They don't match each other closely, though. That's the thing. They do not match each other closely.
advantage either had. This is best explained through three categories, starting with stats.
Both Dante and Clive could easily beat up universe-busting threats.
Mundus and Ultimalius can create universes at a whim, and Dante and Clive defeated them sans their own super forms. Dante and Clive could both consistently intercept lasers at faster-than-light speeds.
Yes, but Dante is notably fucking faster. And that's, oh, they're both faster than speed of light, so it doesn't matter. No, it still fucking matters.
Dante could always amp up with demon juice to briefly outspeed Clive anyway.
But Clive could match that by boosting his own speed and reflexes through precision dodge. Both were so beyond the pale that neither could definitively overpower the other.
Still, given their crazy powers, you'd think one of their abilities would break the deadlock.
Not so much. Dante and Clive could generally match each other blow for blow, be it to teleport, slow down time, flash freeze the other, block and absorb hits, etc.
And
Right, Patrick is correct. Dante, as they brought up in the intro, getting stabbed is basically how Dante just goes Super Saiyan at this point. But that's how they kill him, dude. This is so fucking dumb.
Dante could survive
And yes, I have played Final Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy Apollo Monopoly. Now, I haven't played Final Fantasy 16. But I know, in general, as a franchise, I love Final Fantasy. But I also very much know Devil May Cry. Nothing in Final Fantasy could top the shenanigans, the straight chicanery that is Devil May Cry's universe.
intense flames of Ifrit. He's dealt with heat like that before.
Though Clive did not have a perfect match against Doppelganger, he did have more methods of manipulating time, both more reliable and abusable, in addition to defensive measures like Ifrit's barrier to fall back on to outlast powers like Doppelganger.
But their super forms evened out. Any edge Clive could get from, say, Limit Break or Ifrit Risen, Dante could match with Devil Trigger or Sin Devil Trigger.
In the end, both have answers to most of each other's powers, making it still anyone's win.
Which is why it came down to one major factor: endurance. Just how long could these two keep?
Dante is literally fighting in hell for eternity by the ending of fucking Devil May Cry 5. You don't even know if Clive lives by the end of 2016, or by the end of Final Fantasy 16, by their own admission. Just by the endings of the games themselves, you know Dante has more endurance.
Keep at it.
While Dante's super forms could undoubtedly keep up with Clive's, there is an emphasis in story and gameplay that they expend a lot of demonic energy.
The longest Dante
No, right! And then it just charges right back up. You can't use gameplay mechanics as if that's fucking lore.
has battled in Devil Trigger against someone his equal is about 6 minutes, and abilities like Doppelganger, Quicksilver, and Sin Devil Trigger burn through it even faster.
Clive's time in Ifrit Risen isn't limitless either, but it can last longer, fighting for tens of minutes if necessary.
Yeah, but guess what? His fucking Ifrit form is shit that Dante deals with in base on the reg, bro.
But given how close this match is, it's vital. If Ifrit Risen catches Dante outside of Devil Trigger, it's...
I'll pull the chat right now, but we all know the answer. We all know the answer. Yeah, go ahead. I'll pull the chat. Who should have won? Dante, Clive.
over.
I know what you're thinking. Dante's crazy tough. His healing factor's way better than Clive's. Clive can regen lost limbs, sure, but Dante can heal from getting reduced to a puddle. Couldn't he just tank Ifrit's attacks?
Well, yes, but also no. This is where context is everything. While no doubt...
I swear to Christ, if they're going to use the non-canon Adi Shankar bullshit, which depowered Dante to absurd levels...
Impressive, Dante's healing has been overcome in the past because it is tied to how much energy he has. Less demonic energy means a less potent healing factor.
Like...
But he doesn't die. That's the thing. It just takes him longer to heal. He doesn't die, though. He literally sat buried under rubble for over a month after getting his shit kicked in and didn't fucking die. Again, oh, it depends on how much energy they have. You trying to tell me he has energy, that Nero has energy when he's liquefied? No, he literally can't die.
When he got knocked out for a month straight by Urizen, only surviving thanks to a constant source of demon blood. Hell, overtaxing demon regen is how Dante killed Virgil in the first place.
Even if we assume Dante could get a second wind, it's always possible Clive could get one too.
Right. Took years to come back from the dead, but he didn't ever necessarily die. That's the thing. It took him a long time to regenerate, but he didn't fucking die, because if he's dead, he can't regenerate.
Becoming even stronger from pure willpower, just like when he fought Ultimalius.
So, for as tough and persistent as Dante was, Clive was able to endure just that much more to get the final edge. The devil was in the details, but Clive's victory is no fantasy.
The winner is Clive Rossfield.
Next,
That's such fucking bullshit. That is such bullshit. And, yeah, polled the chat, 85% say Dante should have won. 85%. And some people would be like, oh, y'all just don't like Final Fantasy 16. I got nothing against Final Fantasy 16. You want to hear my, again, I haven't played it, but I got nothing against it. I think Final Fantasy should be turn-based. However, here's my top 5 Final Fantasy games. Tactics, 9, 10, 15, 6. 15 isn't motherfucking turn-based. I love 15. So here's the dealio. It's not even about, Final Fantasy 16 haters. Dude, Dante is arguably one of the most busted video game characters in the history of games. The dude's existence is just constantly rolling nat 20s. Absolute bullshit. Nah, this was weak sauce, bro. This was weak sauce. But we all knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming because this is what Death Battle does. Final Fantasy 16 is amazing, and Clive is a great character. Dante is more powerful. It's not for debate. Yeah, again, since I haven't played 16, I'm not even talking the quality of it. I know a lot of people hate it. To me, it's just like, dude, Dante is unfucking killable. Dante can fight Kirby and Doom Guy. That's how busted he is. Exactly. What up, Honey Maui? How you doing? Alright, we got another hour or so for Niet stream. Let's end this on something educational. Terrifying 30,000-year-old cave art no one can explain. Alright? Let's check it out.
A handprint. That's often the first thing you see when the torchlight hits the walls. 30,000 years ago, someone pressed their palm against stone and blew ochre across it. A negative imprint, fragile but defiant. I was here. But look past the handprints and the animals, past the bison, the horses, the mammoths that seem to run across the walls, and something stranger emerges. When Paleolithic people finally drew themselves, it wasn't as hunters, or families, or proud portraits. It was as bodies. At Pech-Merle, a human sprawled and pierced with spears. At Lascaux, a man with the head of a bird, lying lifeless before a gutted bison. At Cognac, figures riddled with
That's one of my favorite alcohols right there. Cognac.
projectiles until they collapse. In Gabillou and Trois Frères, hybrids that twist between human and beast, neither one nor the other. At Cosquer, a dying figure with a seal-like head drowning in the dark. Why?
I mean, if I had to guess as to why, I mean, we're talking 30,000 years ago. These are very early hominid, right? And so I would wager that they just looked at nature as a spiritual thing, and that they were unwittingly, like, they're just they were a part of nature, as opposed to modern human now that sort of like largely sees ourselves as existing outside of nature. They are part of it, so they would do their art showing, you know, the humans with animal parts and whatnot as a way to symbolize their ties to the natural world. I'm just guessing.
Why did people who could draw animals in stunning lifelike detail almost never choose to draw themselves? And why, in the rare moments when they did, were they reduced to victims, monsters, or ghosts? For decades, archaeologists have argued maybe they lacked the skill, maybe it was taboo, maybe it was all shamanic visions, but none of those answers really explain the silence or the violence. So today, we're going to follow the handprints into the dark. To ask what these...
I've been waiting to react to this video for ages. This popped up on my radar the day it debuted a month ago, but I've never gotten to it on stream. I'm very excited to finally get to react to this. I don't know how many of y'all come here for, like, history stuff and whatnot. It's not something I do super often, but this shit fascinates me.
Rare, unsettling human depictions were really saying about life 30,000 years ago, and why, after all this time, they still make us uneasy.
If you want to understand why humans are so rarely pictured in Ice Age caves, you have to begin long before Lascaux or Chauvet. On the southern tip of Africa, in Blombos Cave, archaeologists found a piece of ochre small enough to fit in your palm. At first glance, it looked like nothing, but under a microscope, the scratches revealed a deliberate cross-hatched design.
By the way, completely unrelated, 337,000 views. What was that Shad was bitching and moaning about? Slop content. No high quality content people don't watch. I don't know, dude. Almost 500,000 people have watched this so far.
When Christopher Henshelwood and his team published the find in Science in 2002, they called it the world's oldest drawing, almost 100,000 years old. Alongside it were perforated shell beads and abalone shells filled with ochre, the first known palettes and ornaments, clear evidence of symbolic thought. And yet, even here, the symbols weren't us. Not a body, not a face, just lines. And it's not just us, Homo sapiens. Tens of thousands of years later, a different species picked up the torch. In Spain, at La Pasiega, Maltravieso, and Ardeles, archaeologists sampled red pigments, dots, ladder shapes, and a sprayed hand stencil. Uranium-thorium dating, published in Science in 2018 by Dirk Hoffman and colleagues, pushed them back to at least 64,000 years ago. That was more than 20,000 years before Homo sapiens arrived in Europe, which means it was made by Neanderthals, so the first cave painters of Europe weren't us. It went against the theory that Neanderthals were incapable of producing such art.
Yeah, to be fair, this has been disproven time and time again. Like, Neanderthals, to my knowledge, they had comparable sized brains. They were even bigger and stronger. Like, the entire reasoning for us having, certain more intellectual capabilities was due to one single protein difference in our brain. That's it. One single different protein difference. But yeah, Neanderthals were not just these big, dumb cavemen or whatnot like people thought. This has been disproven over and over.
They too marked walls with signs and hands, but strikingly, not with images of themselves as well. By the time Homo sapiens reached Southeast Asia, the pattern held. On the island of Sulawesi, hand stencils and a pig were dated to 40,000 years ago. In Borneo...
No, when I say bigger shrapnel, I mean muscle mass. Neanderthals had more muscle mass than Homo sapien.
Wild cattle were painted at roughly the same time. These are among the oldest figurative artworks on Earth, and yet again, the subjects weren't human. Finally, around 45,000 years ago, modern humans reached Ice Age Europe and filled its caves with images. Chauvet's lions, Altamira's bison, Lascaux's horses, rendered with breathtaking skill, often more lifelike than anything until the Renaissance. But even here, across the most famous art galleries of the Paleolithic, the pattern didn't change. Thousands of animals, dozens of signs, countless handprints, and almost no humans. Which leaves the following puzzle: from Africa to Europe to Asia, from Homo sapiens to Neanderthals, across 60,000 years of symbolic behavior, the one subject consistently missing was the human self. It isn't because they couldn't. The skill is there in every line of ochre and charcoal, which means the absence must be intentional. A silence by choice. If humans and Neanderthals clearly had the skill to paint animals, handprints, and abstract designs, then why are human bodies almost never drawn?
This is a really interesting question. Like, this is something that I didn't really know about, because we hear all the time about, the, cave paintings and whatnot, and people, like, holding their spears and hunting bison and shit like that. But that is all far, far more recent. I mean, until this video, I didn't know that art from 30,000 years ago rarely depicted humans. So yeah, this is strange. I'm locked in.
Archaeologists have offered explanations, but one by one, they fall apart. The first was simple. They couldn't draw people. The idea is that Paleolithic artists lack...
That one makes literally no sense to me. I would say that on average, even these early hominids, would see way more people than they would animals. Because you've got to hunt and track the animals and whatnot, whereas you've got your little tribes. You're surrounded by people all the time. I would think they'd have a better eye for the human anatomy because they see humans more. Yeah, great. Superstition's what I'm wondering about as well. But also, why would it be superstition? If it was amongst just like one type of tribe or something like that, that's one thing. But this seems to be all over the world and with different types of hominid. Neanderthal, Homo sapien, the whole nine. So they all came to the same conclusion to not, or rarely at least, draw the human form. So that goes beyond superstition, I would think.
The technical ability to depict the human form, but that collapses the moment you stand in front of Chauvet or Altamira. The lions there are muscular, poised mid-pounce. The bison swell with volume, their hides shaded with delicate color transitions. At Lascaux, entire herds move with cinematic motion. These were not clumsy doodlers. If they could render a lion's mane or a mammoth's eye with such realism, they could have drawn their own kind just as well. The second explanation is taboo. Maybe human figures were forbidden, wrapped in spiritual danger. At first glance, this seems possible, even likely, as some indigenous groups today treat images of the human body with caution. And it's not just tribal ones. Even in our modern societies and up to the Industrial Revolution, There's plenty of tales and myths narrated.
It's not superstition, in my honest opinion, that the fact that when you can tell apart your peers, which one well, it's, I don't think, the video is making it sound like they rarely drew humans at all. Not just specific humans, but humans at all.
The link between the soul and the representation of one's image.
Yeah, how old are the Anasazi petroglyphs? Because we're talking 30,000 years ago. Hold on. How old are the Anasazi petroglyphs? 9 to 2,000 years old. We're talking 30,000 years ago. So yeah, I don't think that's a fair comparison.
Best example of this is the picture of Dorian Gray, which was written first in 1890. If you take a sidestep, you could even associate this belief to the more grounded practice of postmortem photographs, popular in Europe's 19th century and early 20th century. But these photos are usually representing their subjects as sleeping, sometimes in lifelike scenes of family pictures. The practice faded once the embalming process.
That's it. They drew generic animals, not specific ones, because it's harder to tell apart wild animals. No, right. But you could still draw the generic human form. This is making it sound like they didn't even draw the generic human form.
Transferred to the funeral parlors, and bodies were exposed directly in their ready-made coffins. Death was unmistakable. No sleep. Quite the opposite of the cave walls. In cave art, humans do appear in rare moments, stick-like, masked, hybrid, or dying. If strict taboo was in place, those images shouldn't exist at all. The third explanation is the most popular: shamanism. In this view, cave art records visions seen in trance states. Jean Klotz and David Lewis Williams developed this argument in The Shamans of Prehistory in 1998, showing how sensations of flying, being pierced, or transforming into animals could explain hybrids and wounded men. And for some images it fits, as they do echo patterns found in trance ethnography. But as Lewis Williams himself admitted later in The Mind in the Cave in 2002, shamanism alone can't explain everything. It doesn't.
Exactly, because shamanism alone doesn't account for why all these human cultures all over the world came to the same conclusion of don't draw the human form.
Account for the violent representations of humans. Never perpetrators, by the way.
And Greystone makes a good point. If it was shamanism, you'd probably be seeing more DMT elves. I mean, like, that's legitimately, I think, a good point.
Always victims. It doesn't explain the bound humans of Adara. It doesn't explain why, across continents and species, the human figure is not just rare, but consistently associated with death, violence, or distortion. So we're left with a broken pattern. They could draw us, but chose not to. Taboo existed, but was not absolute. Visions explain some figures, but not the whole silence. And that silence is what actually matters. Because when the human body finally does appear on cave walls, it is never neutral. It is speared, broken, masked, or monstrous. Which brings us to the first of those haunting depictions. A figure at Pechmerl, pierced again and again, lying in the dark beside a cryptic sign. At first, the caves welcome you. Step into Pechmerl, and the walls are alive with beauty. Horses painted with spotted coats, so precise that a 2011 DNA study confirmed Ice Age horses really did carry that dappled pattern. Hands bloom in ochre, symbols dot the stone. It feels almost celebratory, a record of life. But if you keep walking deeper into the chamber, the light shifts. Past the horses, the walls change. There, etched in rough black lines, is a human figure. Crude, almost stick-like.
Look, I ain't an anthropologist or paleontologist or archaeologist or any of these sort of ologists. But are we sure this is a human? Like, I get it could be. I'm not saying it's not. But I feel like just jumping to the de facto conclusion that this is a human, I don't know, that seems like a leap.
And through its torso 5, maybe 10 spears. Next to it, a bold geometric sign. The
Final Fantasy sucks. You really just missed out, considering I did a whole video, I ran into a video 10 minutes ago ragging on Final Fantasy.
Form or plaque. Saros with
Look at the artistic talent here. You've got The deer, you got its haunches, comes up to the head, and the intricacy of the antlers. Like, look at the intricacy of these antlers here and try and tell me they couldn't do humans. We know for sure they could.
Antlers like trees, but then the torchlight falls on two human figures. One is folded into the outline of a giant deer, its back pierced with spears. The other...
Again, like, is that a human? Are we sure that that's a human? For those of you who can't, like this right here. Like, I get it. It looks like the human form. You've got the rump. You got the legs. But I don't know that we can confirm that's what that is.
Lies rigid, arms and legs spread, riddled with wounds. Michel Lorblanchet, who studied the cave for decades, wrote that the placement of the projectiles was deliberate, almost ritualistic. Not random violence, but violence staged, then remembered. And then, at skill that nothing matches it.
I know we'll never know, but I want to, dude. I want to know.
Until the Renaissance. The cave was such a wonder that it was closed to the public in 1963 to preserve its beautiful depictions. But, despite the detailed animal representations, there is only one human figure. And it's not acceptable.
Over 600 animals, one human. Does that not make you guys ask fucking questions? Why? Like, there's gotta be a fucking reason. Joke that he got a fucking hard dick, and apparently that's actually what that is. All right.
Staff topped with a bird. A spear links the man.
Dude, shrapnel is not wrong. If it was open up to the public, guaranteed just stop oil with deep faces. Dude, you were 100% correct. And if that were the case, if that were to happen, fucking death penalty, dude. Don't even give a fuck.
In the bison.
I don't know, man. That looked like a straight up Wendigo to me, son.
Limbs bent as if dancing.
I don't know. To me, this doesn't look like a man at all. Like, this looks 100% like a, what is it that Nessie was theorized to be? Like a plesiosaur or something like that? I could be misremembering, but, like, I believe that's the dino that Nessie, if he was to exist, you know, is assumed to be. It's like a... Plesiosaur sounds wrong. What is it? It's driving me crazy. I gotta look it up now. What dinosaur is Nessie based on? Oh, no, okay, I was right. Yeah, plesiosaur. Okay, so yeah, like look at. So you got the long neck, you got the fins and whatnot. And then you got the long neck, you got the fin. Like, I don't know how they're getting a man out of this at all. Like, I see a plesiosaur.
Pierced and fallen. Anything painted on the walls.
Dude, yeah, violence in the fragile worlds. We have it so goddamn good right now, bro. Like, oh man, Israel blowing up all the brown people in Gaza. Aight, fuck them. These early humans, they didn't live to like 9 years old because they were getting speared by rhinoceri or some shit. Bro, this existence was just, like, was death incarnate.
To try and understand why, we need to add a bit of context. Step back for a moment. It's tempting to imagine Ice Age Europe as a land teeming with people. Clans competing for caves, groups clashing over territory. But step out of the caves and the numbers tell a different story. At the height of the Upper Paleolithic, around 37,000 years ago, the entire population of Europe may have been fewer than 4,000 people. That's less than a modern village spread across an entire continent. The estimate, drawn from work by Chris Stringer and Clive Gamble in Search of the Neanderthals back in 1993, puts population density at about 3 people per 100 square kilometers. By comparison,
3 people per, that is fucking bananas.
Today's sparsely populated Mongolia has about 2 people per square kilometer, so 200 for the same surface. In groups that small, violence wasn't constant, but when it happened, it was seismic. For decades, the image of prehistory was shaped by the myth of the gentle savage, the idea that foragers lived in timeless harmony with nature and each other, untouched by the corruption of civilization.
Nah, dude, there's a reason man, to this day, has a predisposition and propensity for violence. It is in our fucking DNA, son. Humans are an inherently violent bunch. All 37,000 years ago.
It's a comforting story that's often used in the media to talk about foragers' African tribes of today's, or in pop culture, such as the Avatar movies. But the evidence doesn't bear it out. Anthropologists Douglas Fry and Patrick Soderbergh set out to test it.
Every creature
In
is
Science
violent.
in
I'm saying we're not the
2013,
exception.
they analyzed cases of lethal violence across 21 mobile forager societies worldwide. The results cut against both extremes, neither a paradise of peace nor a world of perpetual tribal war. Instead, the pattern was more intimate. About 55% of killings occurred one-on-one, born of quarrels between individuals. About 36% were intra-group, often involving family or close kin. And only 15% were clashes between groups. And even those weren't over land or resources, but over jealousy, insults, or disputes about partners. Other scholars painted a different picture. In War Before Civilization, in 1996,
That is a base title. The Myth of the Peaceful Savage. That, dude, that's a sick-ass title.
Lawrence Keeley pointed to archaeological trauma. The Kennewick Man with its projectile point lodged into his pelvis bone. The Jahel Sahaba Cemetery, where approximately 40% of individuals show trauma from arrows and spears, interpreted as repeated conflict between groups. In some groups, he suggested, as many as 1 in 4 adult males may have died violently. Yet, in Upper Paleolithic Europe, evidence of such behavior is much rarer, and never on the scale of the massacres found in later farming societies. Anthropologist Raymond Kelly, in Warless Societies and the Origin of War in 2000, drew an important line: the distinction between simple and complex foragers. The so-called simple foragers were small groups, highly mobile, and violence was mostly episodic and interpersonal. It's only with semi-sedentary, complex foragers, which were resource-rich societies, that violence escalated to organized raids. Only then, with sedentism and larger populations, did raids and mass killings become common. Taken together, the evidence shows that violence has always been with us.
People, yeah,
not endless
damn right.
armies, that came only later, but quarrels between brothers, cousins, neighbors, common things. And in bands of only 20 or 30 people, those quarrels could be catastrophic. One death might mean a broken hunting party, a family line cut short, a group split in two. That intimacy gave violence a lot more weight than it does today, even in our societies where the value of life has been greatly appraised compared to our more modern past. Back then, it was remembered, retold, and maybe painted. The speared figures of Peshmerl and Cognac, the bird-headed man of Lascaux, the bound bodies of Adora might not be mere idle sketches. They might have been as warnings, lessons, or myths drawn from lived experience, as could be for a forager. In societies where oral stories carried memory across generations, painting violence on stone turned one rupture into a permanent reminder. And maybe that's why humans appear only at the edge of collapse. The animals on the walls are eternal, herds that renew each season, the cycle of the hunt repeating. Humans, by contrast, were fragile. One spear, one quarrel, one misstep could tear everything apart. So the caves did not picture us as heroes. They pictured us as fragile bodies in a fragile world, where violence wasn't constant, but when it came, it defined everything.
But see, I don't know. I mean, I would believe that that's all true, but I would also question why there aren't depictions of humans in other states of being. Because there were other states of being at the time, right?
So now, what do we make of it all? The handprints, the speared men, the hybrids, the bound bodies. Why did Paleolithic artists draw thousands of animals in lifelike motion, but reserve humans only for moments of death, distortion, or transformation? The answer isn't that they lacked skill. We've seen the opposite. From Blombos to Borneo to Lascaux, their command of symbol and realism was extraordinary, nor can it be reduced to simple taboo. Humans do appear, but always in extremity.
Was it like, the question still asks though, if you're only drawing humans in instances of violence, and those are very few and far between, couldn't you still make the argument that it would be taboo to draw them not experiencing violence? But then you run into the same question, why did all these different cultures all over the world have that same taboo? Damn, the things we'll never know, man.
And while shamanic visions surely played a role in some hybrids and trance-like scenes, that doesn't explain the consistent silence across continents and species.
Exactly.
The silence itself is the message. For Neanderthals and Homo sapiens alike, animals represented continuity, abundance, power. Herds renewed each season. Predators returned each year. To paint them was to mark the eternal. Humans, by contrast, were fragile. A single killing could fracture a band.
Right, but I mean, humans are also the predators in this instance. Now they're also the prey. Why would they not view themselves as part of that cycle, therefore also depicting themselves? See, I'm kind of with, because Gravestone said he disagrees with a lot of the conclusions. That's a conclusion I disagree with. Yeah, humans are fragile, but so are fucking deer. Like, and humans are part of this renewing cycle of seasons. They have to know this because they're depicting all this.
A single quarrel could ripple across generations. To paint the human body was to paint rupture, not continuity. That is why, across caves from Spain to Sicily, the human figure appears only when something breaks. Pierced at Pechmerel and Cognac, collapsing at Lascaux, half-transformed at Trois Frères and Gabilou, dying at Coscar, bound at Adora. Always fragile, always marked by violence, myth, or fear. Archaeologist David Lewis Williams argued in his 2002 The Mind in the Cave that caves were thresholds, liminal spaces where humans confronted the forces that defined them.
No, that's a bad argument. Liminal spaces are transitional. Like the entrance to the cave would be a liminal space, but once you're in the cave, you've reached what's being transitioned into. Yeah, no, that's inherently wrong by the definition of what liminality is.
Draw oneself in that sacred space wasn't to celebrate, but to expose. It meant acknowledging that the human form was not permanent, but precarious. Seen this way, the absence of humans from Paleolithic art wasn't an oversight. It might just be the manifestation of a different worldview. The people who pressed their hands on stone, who shaded bison with charcoal and ochre, saw animals as eternal and themselves as vulnerable. The handprints said, "I was here." The dying figures said, "but only for a moment." And that may be why their art still unsettles us. Because when we finally began to draw ourselves again, tens of thousands of years later, we did the opposite. We filled temples.
Tens of thousands of years later. Well, like I think it was Shrapnel was saying earlier, you know, the petroglyphs of Anasazi. I guess it still would be tens of thousands because we're talking 30,000 years ago compared to 9,000 years ago. So that's still 20,000 years in between. Okay.
Manuscripts, and museums with human faces. We built statues in our own likeness, portraits of kings, saints, and soldiers to celebrate the glory of these characters. In the modern world, we've gone further still. Billions of images of ourselves, carried in pockets, broadcast on screens. We developed technologies all the way to being able to capture not only a snap in time, but entire moments, events, and when pieced together, whole periods of modern history. If Paleolithic caves erase the human image, our age is drowning in it, glorifying it till it loses the meaning it once had. We take so many that most of them are absolutely worthless, despite the sheer technological prowess of embedding a moment on a piece of paper. And now, we've crossed into a stranger phase. Images no longer need us at all. Generative AI can summon portraits, landscapes, and videos of people who never lived, events that never happened, faces that belong to no one. In a way, we've created the opposite of Paleolithic silence, a flood of humanity without any humans in it. Pictures detached from memory, from witness, from experience. If the cave showed too little of us, our age may be showing too much, until the image itself becomes empty. Only now, 30,000 years later, surrounded by cities, screens, and worlds that don't even exist, we recognize the truth they painted. Time passes, animals endure, seasons return, but humans are nothing but fragile.
I mean, humans and animals have more or less been around the same length of time, give or take. You know, you got the prehistoric age, you know, like the dinosaurs and things of that effect. And then after, if you believe in the Chicxulub impact theory, it wasn't until after the melting of Chicxulub that all of that you know, humans and mammals became dominant. So like, they're just as fragile as us. That's a very bad comparison that he's drawing right here.
It began with a handprint pressed against stone, dusted with ochre, a quiet mark that said, "I was here." But when Paleolithic people dared to picture themselves, they didn't draw life. They drew wounds, hybrids, and bodies collapsing into death. No hunters, no heroes, no families, just figures at the edge of disappearance. For them, animals were eternal. Horses thundered back each season. Bison returned with the cold. Lions prowled the dark. To paint animals was to paint continuity. To paint humans was to paint rupture. That's why, across caves from Pekmerl to Adora, our image appears only when something has broken.
Yo, shout out New Blackstreet Mafia. How you guys doing? I don't know if this is the sort of content that you would appreciate. You know, this is educational. This is history. Although we might be looking at images drawn by Atreus and Kata's ancestors. So there is that.
Or so we think. After all, these are art pieces we can only interpret with our modern lenses now. But since then, we've filled the silence with endless reflections of ourselves. First portraits, then statues, all the way to selfies and videos. And now, synthetic faces spun from the blur of AI code. But the caves still whisper a different truth, one that comes from the depth of our existence, and that holds true still to this day. Our image is not eternal. That fragility.
Maybe only meaningful moments were recorded, return of the herd, loss of loved ones. We aren't accounting for times on these. Well, the thing is, I get what you're saying, and I would imagine you're probably correct in some regard, but why aren't we seeing images of that? You know, if we're seeing all these images, the very few human images there are always ones of death. I mean, did they not find any meaning in birth? Did they not find any meaning in you know, loved ones, things like that? Like, it's very strange that there's only violence and death being depicted. Shout out Sirloins with a 5-banger. Says, "O Block Raid." Shout out New Blackstreet Mafia.
The truest picture we ever left behind. If this story changed how you see cave art, the way we represented ourselves and our whole worldview during prehistoric times, consider liking this.
Well, they didn't forget ancient Greece. It's not relevant. Again, ancient Greece wasn't 30,000 years ago. We're talking about 30,000 years ago here.
Video. And let us know, which figure haunted you most in the comments? Share this with someone who still thinks the caves are only about beauty. And so
Yeah, this was an awesome video. I'll link this one in the chat for you guys in case you're, this is the sort of content you get down on. You want to watch more of this stuff. That was good. I've been jonesing to watch that video for like a fucking month. Finally got to it. As for what I think it poses a very interesting question. I think that video posed a very interesting question. Why do we rarely see humans in these ancient cave paintings? When we do, why is it always an act of violence? I disagree with the answer. The answer basically came down to early hominids found themselves as fragile, and so they only depicted moments of fragility. But that, I don't see any more evidence for that than the taboo argument or the shaman argument. It just seems like this is a new possible answer as opposed to an answer that has more weight or relevance than the other previously proposed answers. Now the answer that they didn't have the skill or the talent, that's bunk. We know that one's bunk. They clearly obviously did. So yeah, this proposes a new answer, but I don't think it's any more valid. I tried thinking the crafts person, never found them before, because they were fighting what was once at the top of the food chain. Yeah, right. Maybe early artists were just edgelords. It's our DNA to be that way. I like that answer. Because in a way, I agree. The fucking prehistoric edgelord. Want to feel young? Louis turns 20 next year. I don't know what you mean by young. What, you mean... You mean this bad boy right here? You mean this bad boy... Wait a second, it's upside down. There we go. You mean this bad boy right here turns 20 next year? You're goddamn right it does. This is my original Wii. To be fair, I've had a couple of Wiis, but this was my original Wii that I got on launch year. Well, my dad got for me for Christmas, but even so, yeah. This bad boy right here turns 20 next year. Don't y'all talk to me about the Wii, son. Don't y'all talk to me about the Wii. Your boy knows his Wii. Ooh, that's a weird sentence. That Wii looks smaller than you usually Wii. Ooh, the white Wii. When the Wii came out, there was only the white Wii. There was only the white one. You didn't have the black ones and the red ones and shit on release. Dude, I got that shit the Christmas it dropped. I'm pretty sure it dropped. I could be wrong. And I'll Google it. I'll Google it. But I'm almost positive the release date was November 6th of 2006. Let's see. Am I correct? Was it November 6th? Wii original release date. Oh, nope. Damn it. Oh, it was November 19th, 2006. Okay. November 19th, 2006. I got that shit for Christmas that year, bro. I got that shit for Christmas. Coolest fucking gift, man. One of the coolest gifts. I never played Sonic and the Black Knight. It's one of the only Sonic games I've never played. I have a love-hate relationship with Secret Rings. I have a love-hate relationship with Secret Rings. Wii might be my favorite Nintendo console. I played the fuck out of No More Heroes. Man, No More Heroes was great. The Wii is either my second or third favorite Nintendo console. GameCube is number one. GameCube is number one. But then it's either the SNES or the Wii. I don't know which is second and which is third. The SNES and the Wii are definitely second and third, but I don't know in what order. And then we got the goat. We got the goat, baby. Look at that. Even had a disc in there. Is this Ocarina? Yeah, dude. Ocarina, baby. Never had GameCube? Oh, man. GameCube was sick, bro. Now, I never had Nintendo 64. My friends did, so I played it all the time, but I never owned one. Me and friends skip school today to play a Resident Evil shooter. Oh, dude, Umbrella Chronicles. I don't think that was a release title. I don't think it came out until a little bit later. But yeah, Umbrella Chronicles was awesome. I love Umbrella Chronicles. If I start a tribe, y'all pretty much part of the tribe already. If y'all are subbed, and better yet, if you're members and join the Discord, then y'all are part of the tribe. The Vital Idol tribe. Friends skip school. Okay, yeah, no, got that one. No, well, we were talking consoles. No, I had the original Game Boy, the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy, and the Game Boy SP. I skipped the regular Advance. I skipped the regular Game Boy Advance, but then got the SP. Yeah, dude. Game Boy was awesome also. And obviously, I skipped the regular DS, waited for the DS Lite. I got the DS Lite. And then I skipped the DSi, but I got the 2DS. Yeah, I got the 2DS. So yeah, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy SP, DS Lite, and 2DS are all 5 of the handhelds I had. We'll go over another 5 minutes or so, then we'll raid into Niat. That way I can have time to prep before the show. Yo, shout out. Thanks for the sub, Sirloins. Absolute legend. Truly appreciated. Yeah, we'll go for another 5 minutes, then we'll raid into Niat. I don't really know what we're going to do. We can just chit-chat for about 5 minutes or so. It's not like I got anything going on. You know, I think there's still those creatures walking around out there. What do you mean with those creatures? I'm surprised you weren't subbed already either. But shout out, thanks for the sub. Yeah, what do you mean with creatures walking around out there? If you're referring to like monsters and stuff, like what's on those cave paintings, yeah, I believe in some of that stuff as well, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I believe in some of those as well. Oh, Australia is still finding a new spider, right? Speaking of Australia, I'm going to be streaming in Australia in just 20 minutes. Love that guy. Love Niat. Niat's my boy. What is the reason for the Uncanny Valley? Why are we unnerved by things not just not human enough? I believe a pretty common theory. In fact, we're going to be doing the Uncanny Valley at some point on Tinfoil Haters. I don't know when, but at some point on Tinfoil Haters, we're going to be doing the Uncanny Valley. But no, I believe that there was some sort of ancient predator or being or something that looked human but wasn't quite human, or something that replicated humans but didn't replicate humans properly. I think it is in our DNA to be terrified of the Uncanny Valley because of some ancient humanoid predator. I don't know, but that's one of the proposed theories. That's the theory that I both love and hate the most. I love it because it's the coolest. I hate it because it's the scariest. SCP, my friend SCP, I don't know what that is. I was talking about like the SCP Foundation or something. Yeah, Fear of the Unknown is real. Neanderthals. There's a very, very interesting video on a Neanderthal theory, and I'll link it in the. I'll link it real quick. We're not gonna react to it. We're not gonna watch it. I've seen it a million times. But if you haven't seen it, it's a very cool video. So give me one moment here. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen this video, linking it in the chat right now. Watch it and watch the whole thing. Watch the whole thing. It's super interesting. I think it's mostly debunked, but still there's some possible truths to it. Very cool, very interesting video if you want to talk about Neanderthals. Hope I do Death Battle reactions more. I'll do Death Battle reactions when they drop episodes that interest me. And I don't know. It's, these Sunday special streams are great for death battles because we don't do politics. We still do pop culture, but the Sunday specials, we don't do politics. And we only do Sunday specials if we hit tier 3 on the Friday night stream. So you want to see more streams like this, then we got to hit tier 3 on the Friday stream. Favorite or most hated episode? Favorite episode is Android 18 versus Captain Marvel. Probably. If I had to wager a guess. Android 18 is my waifu for lifeu. And seeing her, bitch smack Captain Marvel made me happy. Least favorite episode? Any of the Goku vs. Superman ones. I don't remember if there's 2 or 3 at this point, but any of the Goku vs. Superman ones. They're inherently wrong about that. They didn't even do the math properly. They did the math entirely incorrectly on that. That said, I got another stream to be on in 15 minutes. So I think it's time to bring this crazy train into the station. Let me set up the raid. Give me one moment here. Let's set up the raid into our boy Niat, Film Comics Explained, because I'll be over there with him and several others. And it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a great show, actually. We're talking about Predator. I don't give a fuck about Predator. I ain't going to watch Predator. We're going to talk about a lot of other stuff as well. Pop culture, politics, analysis, the whole 9. Raid set up. We're going to get out of here. I'm out of here like 4 circles. For those of you that donated, truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. I only get to have the opportunity to have literally the best job in the world because of you guys. Thank you so goddamn much. And then, yeah. I'll see y'all on Niat's channel. I'll see you tomorrow for Countercast. Videos and streams every day. Until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. Hop on over to Niat's channel for the raid. Say Vital Idol Raid in the comments. See you on the flip-flop.